So whenever you make a candy bar, it's going to be hard on the outside, soft on the inside. Prove me wrong. Because they're mimicking the breast. The first thing the child sees is a round circle. So if you want something to appeal to a child, make a round circle. Put big round ears on Mickey Mouse the rat. I ain't never seen a rat with round ears in my life. If it is, he's on crack. I'm just trying to keep it real here. So if I want to appeal to children, I use circles. Like a big circle eyes on dolls and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I make it so obvious to you, I do whipped cream and put a nipple on top of it. You call it a cherry. You go around eating a kitty. I say, man, you sick. But see, this thing is done so nicely, you don't get it. Yeah. Because all we're going to do is mimic the breast. That's all we do in food science. That's it. But you think it's so heavy because I use the word food science. No, it's just titty science. When I was young, I went from titty to titty. Now I go from city to city. I'm still chasing the titty. No, I'm kidding. Am I? Another subject altogether. So what I'm saying is it's really not that deep. We're just switching words so you think it's something going on other than that. If I want to addict you to my religion, no matter what it is, I said, well, in the beginning, you moved upon the earth unformed. Yes, that's how you were created, like an egg with no arms and legs. You were unformed, moving upon your mother, inside the uterus. You still with me? But it's in your historical DNA, so this thing is clicking. You say, in the beginning, there was the word. Yeah. When a baby looks up to his mother's face, in the beginning of her face, it's her mouth, where the words are. So to a baby, in the beginning of his mother's face, is the words. So I'm just using that whole birthing process to get you addicted to my subject. You follow me? This is not deep. You call it psychology, I call it titty science. I'm just keeping it real. But if you don't know that, you think I'm saying something deep and heavy and all that kind of, no it ain't, no it ain't. It's all science. Science just means I'm talking with numbers and letters, Latin and Greek, but I'm still saying the same damn thing. And you already know this program. You were born into this program. You know it. Okay. You've been drinking amniotic fluid. You know what that is? And everybody knows what that is? Amniotic fluid. The fluid of Ammon. Ammon's fluid, God's fluid. Baby's floated in inside of the uterus, not inside of a womb. The woman is not wounded. She's not Greek. No one cut off her penis. Get over that. These Greeks. Nonetheless, you're inside your mother's uterus and you're floating around. And just before you're born, you grow all of this hair. You look very fuzzy. And then the hair is coated with oil. But just before you're born, you shed the hair, and the oil is on the hair, and it gets in the amniotic fluid, and the baby drinks it. You call it meconium. It's a meconium. It's a black tarry, like a bowel movement the baby has when it's first born. But the objective is this: is the hair is fiber, which requires the muscles of the intestine to push it, and the oil fires off the liver, because the baby got to switch from amniotic fluid to milk, and milk is 55% fats. So the baby needs the liver. So it's being prepared for a new form of food called milk. And the baby needs the immune system because the mother may have a cold, or the father may have a cold. So the immune system has to be activated. And we call that lymph fluid in the body, named after the lymph god. I'm not going to go into mythology this evening. But it's lymph fluid, you see. And you can't move lymph fluid unless you move your muscles. So the mother has to move the baby's muscles. To do that, she needs contractions. That moves the baby's muscles, and that fires out the baby's immune system, and then change into the digestive system with the drinking the meconium. It's all scientifically put together. But if you don't know that, you've been had. So I want to take you back to the original dietary process, so I'm going to say fry every damn thing. Because that was your first meal. Breast milk is 55% fat at room temperature. So that's your first meal is fats. So I'm going to get you to fry chicken, fry collard greens, you're going to fry every damn thing. Because I'm taking you back to your historical DNA. It's just a matter of keeping you ignorant. I can't make money off of you if you're intelligent. I got to keep you stupid. You can't make any connection to this And nature, you should even talk about it. Everything has to be connected to nature, which is connected to God, because the word Na means God. Nature means God. They call those people Na in Japan and places like that. So what we're looking at is just a language of God, in other words. So your ancestors said this is a holy temple. They're trying to connect you to that. You got emotions. Well, where is emotions at? Emotions is your body. Your body is emotions. Your body is your subconscious.
Yes.
I can put electrostimulators on your body, and your body will tell me when you're lying. Without you open your mouth, because your body itself is your subconscious. I ask you, where is your subconscious? You say, I don't know. They told me it was somewhere. Maybe it's in the subway. No, your body is speaking to you. We call it a lie detector test. You've heard of these things.
Yes.
You can tell the truth, but your body is your emotions telling the truth. Say, no, this nickel's lying. But if I keep you ignorant, you can be had, you see. Because we're talking about relying on our brain to solve every problem in our lives.
Right.
And that's a problem. Because you don't have the emotional vocabulary to solve these problems. So you think your brain can solve every problem. You're a damn fool. Your brain is not the answer to everything. No way. If you use your brain more than your emotions are weak. Your spirituality is weak. You got to use all three of them, spirit, mind, body. If you're just using one, the other one gets weak. Because we were taught to praise the brain. Because we were taught by white men. And they say the brain is everything. You don't have a mental problem. No. You went to a psychiatrist, he treats you as a mental problem, but you have an emotional problem.
Right.
You went to the wrong person, knocked on the wrong door, and got the wrong answer. You have an emotional problem. You don't know how to emotionally talk to yourself. What is your listening style? What is your learning type? What is your learning style? Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? You don't know how to talk to yourself. Then you go to school and try to learn like a teacher learned. Teacher the auditory learning, you're visual learning. Then you wonder why you can't get the lesson. Because you don't know how to talk to yourself. To talk to yourself, you have to be emotional and spiritual.
Right. I love it.
This is what's going on with this food, you see. We're just trying to get you to think that this is food. This is not food. This is God in another form. Damn it, say a prayer. We're lost. If you don't see God in food and God in sex, you've been had. Wait, you say, how you doing, sister? You sure looking good. You got it going on. All this kind of dumb slave talk. Looking at each other like you're a damn slave. You're looking at the woman's hip to see how well she can breathe in her tits. That's how a slave master looks at a woman. Look at a woman like that, you're hurting her damn feelings. Let's get it straight. She's looking at somebody behind her for, you don't sell no damn toilet paper. I mean, this is how we've been orientated to food and to ourselves. And that's our problem. Your problem isn't you. The problem is the white person in you. That's the problem. And we arguing with the white person and the black person and never argue with the person. We're not getting it. And when you've been educated this way, well, let me skip. Now, we know that there's a difference here. Because when you go to school, and I've been to their schools, I was educated. That's right, I'm educated. My grandma said I've been colleged. like it's a hurting, like something happened to me. You've been colleged. I said, damn. Say something college. I said, okay, Grandma, encyclopedia. I've been colleged. So when you go to this school, what they teach you is to memorize and discover. 2 and 2 is 4. You're memorizing, but you're not thinking.
Right.
Thinking is creativity to create and recreate. We think, they memorize, and they discover. They discovered America. You follow what I'm saying? They discovered the sky the blue, but they ain't thought about it. They just discovered it. They haven't learned anything.
Right.
And you're discovering things and memorizing things, but you're not thinking. Thinking is creating and recreating. You can call it dancing if you like. When we dance, we create and recreate.
Right.
You know, that's thinking. We think, they memorize. Two different concepts totally all together. We create. The cell phone proved me wrong. The touch screen proved me wrong. The internet proved me wrong. Computers proved me wrong. We created this stuff. They discovered it. They discovered you. That's why you're here. You're the ones who are doing all the thinking. They just memorizing and discovering. That's what the schools are about. Now I'm trying to get you to think. How does this sugar thing works? Every cell in your body has diabetes. Your brain has diabetes. And if it can't get the sugar, it's starving. If it's starving, it dies. Alzheimer's, give it some man's name. Alzheimer's is a man's name. That's not telling you what's going on. The first thing you come to your mind, what's left of it, from living in D.C. Never mind. Another subject altogether. I got to leave here this evening. What we have to do is just discover ourselves. That's all you have to do. Just discover yourself. And look at here. Something is stopping me from serving God. This sugar is stopping me from serving God. This Negro I'm talking to is stopping me from serving God. If it's stopping you from serving God, stop doing it. What the hell? What are we doing here? You got to ask yourself three things. How is what I'm saying benefiting you? How is you listen to me say this benefiting me? And how is this conversation serving your highest good? How is it serving God? If it's not doing that, stop the hell talking. You see? How is this pigfoot serving me? And how is it serving the Chinese who own Smithville hams? Be clear. Yeah, they bought that about 5 years ago. Yeah, they own Smithville ham. They're the biggest pork eaters in the world.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, if you ask yourself about that with the food, you'll be clear. Say, how is this sugar serving me? And how's, how is this sugar and I serving God together? And then you say, no, this is stopping me from being godly, stop me from being holy. I'm not going to do it. And we call it in our culture, I wash that thought in my eyes. Wash everything in my eye. That's what you do. How is it just for me? Is it balanced for me? Is it harmony for me? Washing it in my eye. That's what we call it. So we're looking at the food differently because now we're trying to get rid of this whole memorization and discovering process and creating something in our brain. That's why we call God their creator. It means something. Create. Don't memorize, create. Okay, so you got this sugar, which people think I like to talk about white things, white sugar, bleach white flour, white salt, white milk, whatever. I'm not into talking about white things, and that's the truth.
For real?
Except for white toilet paper. Because I can wipe my ass in it. Another something altogether. I suffer from post-traumatic slave trauma. I really do. I don't like to eat soup with a cracker. I'm messed up. I'm just it does something to my brain. Soup with a cracker? No. I'm messed up. I mean, I admit it. So nonetheless, let me get back to the sugar thing. Now understand that the egg itself, before you're born, this thing we call the egg is wrapped in a sugar coating, and the sperm is going to that egg. But it can't do it by itself. It needs to work in a family. So all the sperm get together and say, this brother's the best brother to make it this month. So they help him to eat away the shell around the egg. The eggs make the same decision that the lady has. The eggs say, well, I think this lady should make it this month. All of us just stop eating so much so she can get all the nourishment. So they make a family decision. And we call the making of a family in chemistry melanin. It makes a family out of everything, spiritual, mental, and physical. We call it a cluster. People taking notes. I better stop being scientific. Okay. What happens is your body builds a neural net, which is sort of like a spider web, you see. That's why children wants to hear the story over and over again, because each time they hear it, they're connecting more things to that spider web and locks in the thought, you see. We call it a neural net. So the highway map for New York, you cannot use in D.C. emotions have a different highway map than an intellectual thought. Different, totally different. What I'm saying is this: you cannot intellectually explain, you men, you can't intellectually explain to a woman that you're in love with her. She got to feel it.
Right.
The feelings communicate the feelings.
Right.
Two different highways.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yes.
Two different highways. The easiest way to understand this is this: if you're talking to somebody and don't understand what the hell they're saying, it's emotional. This person has an emotional problem. I told them not to eat that pickled pig foot. They said they understood it because they had bunions. They understood it, so they didn't have an intellectual problem. They had an emotional problem. So you need another vocabulary now. You see? That's what I'm talking about. If you're talking to someone and they explain something to you and you don't get it, either they have an emotional problem or you got one. Because emotions require different language altogether. It's a different map altogether. So a child is building an emotional net. That's why they want to hear the same story 20 times. You sitting there all frustrated because they're building these little nets, around this thought. They're connected to their emotions. I'm not getting the alpha and beta. I'm saying they got to connect it to each sensor. They got to connect it to their visual. You follow me? Their ears, their taste, their touch, their smell. And once they do that, it makes sense to them. That's why they say it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because they are holistic. You see? They're telling you what's going on. Because the vocabulary has changed. When a child say they're boring, that's a word for depression. That's why they commit so much suicide, because they're using digital language. You think in analog, oh, they're just boring. No, they're depressed. And they're telling you they're depressed, and they get ready to kill their damn self. You better do something quick. That's why black kids have the highest suicide rate in this country. Every occupation comes with a suicide rate, but you just don't get it. 30 soldiers every day kill themselves in this country, just in the Army. I haven't gone to the Marines. Every profession has a suicide rate. Psychiatrists come next. The post office workers come next. Every profession here has a side effect. It doesn't matter what it is. People killing themselves going to these jobs. They're telling you this job is killing me. They can really kill themselves. You're not listening to people. Yeah, because these jobs have a suicide rate with them, but they don't tell you that. I spent 15 years as a psychotherapist. Started off as a patient, really. Another subject altogether. You don't know the need to know these things. I'm Dr. Afrika. But I'm just saying, that's what goes on. It has a suicide rate because it's not a holy job. It's not satisfying you spiritually, you follow me? Emotional, because it's not holy. The food is not holy. That's why it's pulling the moisture, trying to make itself have its own sense again. If you follow what I'm saying, don't get hung up in the language. Understand the concept. You eat the bleached white flour, but the flour says, damn it, where's the water that went with me when God made me? So if you didn't have the water, it's going to pull it from your bones, pull it from your muscles, pull it from your nerves. And the bleached white flour says, damn it, where's the minerals that went with me when God made me? So it's going to pull the minerals from your bones, pull the minerals from... It's trying to make itself holy. That's all it's trying to do. Because you are holy, and you should eat holy things. After a while, you say, I got it. I should eat whole foods. Yeah. Not whole foods, that's the whole. Whole foods, you need the whole paycheck. You go in that place. Let's be clear. Let's be clear on that. That's whole paycheck. That's not whole food. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They should sell stuff cheaper than any store in the world. I've been to Whole Foods in England and other countries. They should be the cheapest damn. I don't expect too much honor out of people that used to sell slaves. I know you expect a whole lot out of them. I always remember I said, these people just sell slaves. They don't have no morals. Get that one. True. How you going to sell somebody's mother and father and stuff like that? Like George Washington Street, who raped little girls in the White House. He was a pedophile, damn it.
Hey, speak on it.
But we celebrate these people, you know. And I have nothing against the boy. Yes, sir. Because he was George Washington.
Yes.
He had a little of that in him too. I'm telling you the truth. I think Tony Browder does a little lecture on that, show you the people he used to dance with, the men. Yeah, Tony does that. I'm not going into that because I know where I'm at. I'm almost in L.A. here. Another subject. I didn't mean to go there. I'm very sorry. You know, they say I keep it real, like I'm raw, and I don't get invited many places. They probably won't invite me to my own funeral. I'm not such so bad. Another stuff. Let me keep scientific here. So I'm saying you're building this neural net. That's what the child does when he hears a story over and over again and that sort of thing. Now what happens is you can't have one thought unless it's connected to another thought. You can't have one emotion unless it's connected to another emotion. You can't be in love unless it's connected to anger. That's why you can be in love with somebody and angry with them. You follow me? Love is connected to anger. You can be in love with somebody and frustrated with them. Frustration is connected to love because it's a net. All emotions are connected to it. Anger, frustration. I'm tired of this person. Tired's connected to it. every emotion is connected to every emotion. And trying to get rid of the emotion is absurd. You're just not using the emotion properly. Always say there's nothing wrong with the emotion. It's the ritual you use for the emotion. That's what we say in African culture. It's how you, in English I would say how you use the emotion. Remember I said there's nothing wrong with money, it's how you use it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with anger, it's how you use it.
Right.
So don't try to get rid of anger, use it properly. Wake up and say, I'm angry. Let me go kill some white people.
Yes.
I didn't mean to go there. I'm sorry. Sometimes this dashiki takes over my vocabulary. It's the dashiki fault. The devil made me do it. Excuse me. I gotta come back to this place. I didn't mean to go there. I'm very sorry. I'm a Ghettonese. I'm sorry. So I'm saying don't try to dismiss things, just try to use it properly. That's a European concept, trying to get rid of something that God gave you. God gave you anger. God gave you happiness. God gave you love. Now you're going to throw it away? Who the hell are you? That's what I'm saying. You're messing with God's property here. This is Mr. Leroy's property. I'm just saying, you're messing with God's property, and you got to respect it. If God gave it to you, you just don't know how to use it properly. There's nothing wrong with that. So, how long have I been talking? It's been